So we got a bunch of Detroit Red Wings stuff to go over that has taken place over the past few days. Some of this is from today, but ultimately there have been a lot of smaller pieces of info that I think we should go out there and dedicate some time to talking about, rather than purely just talking about the shade that one Corey Schneider dished out to Detroit and its process yesterday. But anyways, let's go over to some of the updates in regards to the Wings coaching staff, in regards to players that are in the prospect pool, and some really good updates on guys representing their nations. Starting out with this is actually from a few days ago, which is why we're going to be talking about it first, but we did have ourselves word that the Red Wings coaching staff is going to get a big hit to their goaltending department. Sean Shapiro posted this on Blue Sky yesterday. I don't know about any other changes to Todd McClellan's staff, but I have been told the Red Wings will have a new goalie coach, and that they have parted ways with Alex Westland. Now, this is something that I think most Red Wings fans would understand. You think about it, from Husso to Reimer to Talbot to Lyon to Mrazek again. The Red Wings have gone through goalies like a repeated cycle washing machine. They've been just going through a bunch of them. And the fact that the Wings have never had... Okay, maybe not never, but in the past little while, they haven't had that guy fully step up and become the bona fide, no-holds-barred, no doubt about it, number one caliber guy. I do think there is some work to be done in regards to how these goalies are being developed in the Red Wings organization. Now, sure, you can speak to the talking point that says that, hey, it's not like Lyon or Talbot or Husso or anybody of these guys. It's not like any of them are starter, bona fide, number one caliber material. I can understand that point, and quite frankly, I would agree. But good goaltending support and good goaltending coaching can do wonders for an organization. And I think of somebody like the Vancouver Canucks' Ian Clark, formerly at least, as the head goalie coach, being able to do exactly that. From Luongo to even the stint that he had with Eddie Lack, to Corey Schneider, to Ryan Miller, Thatcher Demko, Artur Shilovs, Casey DeSmith. We won't talk about Yaroslav Halak, but good goaltending support in the coaching staff can do wonders and can bring the best out of even the most mid of mid goalies. And I'm just going to go out there and say that even though Talbot, Lyon, these guys, they can have good nights, they can have more rough nights, but ultimately, there hasn't been that sort of transformative quality out of this goaltending coaching staff to bring the best out of these goaltenders for even a season's worth at a time. You can look at the statistics and say, oh yeah, Cam Talbot had a pretty decent year, all things considered. Yeah, guess what? He still had a better save percentage last year. Guess what? He still had even better save percentages in all these other organizations, from Calgary to Minnesota to LA. This season in Detroit was one of the poorer years that he had as an NHL goaltender, statistically speaking. Now, he's a lot older, so I don't really know if there's that same learning curve that's capable here, but still, Red Wings goaltending coaching probably is going to change itself up heading into the next season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as to how that is going to affect the Wings and their process. Now, speaking about Wings, speaking about guys that have indeed impressed us as fans, let's go out there and talk about Simon Edvinsson. Because earlier today it was posted on the Tre Kronor social media pages that Simon Edvinsson is going to be making his debut with the Swedish national team. This is at the Bet2Know Hockey Games, and I'm just trying to go out there and see what the Bet2Know Hockey Games is about. There doesn't seem to be like a regular website for their league, but if you head over to the Tre Kronor Instagram page, you will see, hey, it's game day, Sweden versus the USA, and it's going to be played, and Simon Edvinsson is probably going to be there. Here are the rosters, taking a look at some of the guys that are out there. Tom Willander, we have to talk about him later in today's show, but he is also on that D-core alongside fellow Vancouver Canuck Marcus Pettersson. Simon Edvinsson is indeed there too, and then you can see the forwards. The best one is probably Mika Zibanejad. But there are a bunch of other dudes there too. Leo Carlsson, Sebastian Hartman, Oscar Lindberg, Alexander Wenberg, Max Freeberg. I love saying Swedish names, if you couldn't already tell. But big shout out over to Simon Edvinsson for doing the things that he was able to do this season. He was solid defensively. He was pretty productive. He was a guy that I think a lot of Wings fans were more or less impressed by throughout the course of the season. Sure, he didn't have like a Mo Seider Calder winning caliber year. He didn't get 50 points after all. But Edvinsson coming into his own more so as a two-way force, a lanky guy who can move the puck well. That's all you really want out of this guy. And longer term, as he continues to improve, because he's only 22 years old, you hope to see more of those finer details work itself out. This is a guy who can become a very good defenseman, and now he's going to be learning from some of the best, like Marcus Petey in the Swedish national team. Rasmus Andersson's also there too, so hopefully Edvinsson can pick up a pointer or two from what it's like to being able to produce offense like those guys. But ultimately, Simon Edvinsson doing some pretty good work, and you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about that? Ultimately, though, I wanted to dive into some more younger dudes, because... okay, that sounded really bad. Please ignore that. 2 days ago, we had ourselves Jonathan Mills publish this on the Red Wings website. Michael Brandsegg-Nygård and Axel Sandin-Pellikka soaking up their first AHL opportunity with the Grand Rapids Griffins, Detroit's AHL affiliate, to meet Texas in Central Division semifinals of the 2025 Calder Cup Playoffs. The article has a whole bunch of quotes from the folks in question, and Michael Brandsegg-Nygård especially went out there and said this: "I heard it's a good city. When I was watching the game against the Iowa Wild at Wells Fargo Arena on April 17th, the guys were talking about how good the fans are. I'm excited to get to Grand Rapids and play there." Now, talk about adding extra info into the quote. The game against the Iowa Wild at Wells Fargo Arena on April 17th. That is so funny how they had to put that entire thing there as an extra. But the article here says that native of Oslo, Norway, Brandsegg-Nygård became the first Norwegian-born player to be selected in the first round of an NHL draft when the Wings took him 15th overall in 2024. "It's a really big accomplishment for me, and hopefully for Norway too," Brandsegg-Nygård said. "And I hope to, if I make the NHL and have a good career there, make the other kids back in Norway motivated by that, the same way Zuccarello has been for me. I want to be a role model like him." Brandsegg-Nygård said that moving from Norway to Sweden at age 16 was crucial in his on-ice and off-ice development. "I felt like it was just the right step for me, to play, live by myself, and play better hockey in Sweden," the now 19-year-old said. "It was between playing for the men's team back home in Norway or play 1 year of juniors in Sweden, so I felt like that was better for me to get more ice time in Sweden." Brandsegg-Nygård said that it's cool to hear people talk about his hype for being a first-round pick. "That's also big motivation for me to keep working hard and accomplish those goals that people are talking about." There's also plenty of hype surrounding Axel Sandin-Pellikka, whom Brandsegg-Nygård described as a really good player. "ASP is calm with the puck and so smooth. He's really nice to play with." The article then dives into some comments made by the man himself, Axel Sandin-Pellikka. He's just coming over here to try to help the team as much as he can and play his hockey. "I'm looking forward to transitioning to the smaller ice here and playing with Grand Rapids." Now, finally, this is all like, regular basic old stuff, but at the end of the interview, Axel Sandin-Pellikka does say that he has been learning from Nick Kronwall. He's been up to Skellefteå a few times. He's been going on the ice and giving me some clappers. I wish he would tell me how to hit like him. And, I'll say this. If Axel Sandin-Pellikka can somehow get that Nick Kronwall level of physicality into his game, I think we might be looking at an entirely transformed player. If he's able to keep up that offensive edge whilst also providing a huge physical benefit, then this guy might be a monster unleashed. But he doesn't need to do that, honestly. He's a little bit smaller. He doesn't need to pound guys into the ice like Nick Kronwall used to do. But of course, the article that we read is going to be in the description. There are a bunch of other notes from these two Red Wings prospects included in there. I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Firstly, about the coaching change in Detroit with the goaltending. What are your thoughts on Simon Edvinsson making Team Sweden? And also, what are your thoughts on ASP and MBN's interview for Grand Rapids? Thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.